about navigation. There are a lot of offsets from navigation now, PSI. I don't think we have time for all that. But I thought I'll just bring out the flavor of what's happening and over the years how navigation has sort of evolved and progressed. TKR is a successful operation. There's no doubt about that. Very good results, over 90% at 15 years. But aseptic loosening continues to be a problem. And one of the major issues of problems in the long term is aseptic loosening. And we know that mechanical axis alignment, if not perfect and if not appropriate, will increase the polyethylene stresses and affect the durability. So if we are to reduce that amount of aseptic loosening, I think one of the main things that we need to target has got to be mechanical axis alignment. Now the risk of aseptic loosening drops significantly if the axis deviation is within parameters, that is by -3 + 3 from the neutral. And that's been shown time and again. So there's no doubt about that. If your mechanical axis alignment is near neutral, you're going to do better than if it is not. Now, what about conventional jigs? If you look at the picture there, do you think an intramedullary rod would actually do justice to that kind of femur? Would a solid rod ever go in the same direction as the femur? The anatomical landmarks at the hip, the talus, probably in obese patients, you would never be able to find out where they exactly are. Anatomy is variable, and most importantly, visual inspection, clinical feel is never enough to give you the kind of mechanical axis you're looking for, an absolute neutral alignment. Now, even experienced surgeons would not succeed in achieving optimal alignment in nearly 40% of the cases, and that's clinical data that came out from a large study. So therefore, CAS, which was initially used, computer-assisted surgery actually was used in other surgical branches, in trauma and in spine, actually in neurology, before it came into knee replacement. And it started sort of, there was an interest in this, and in 95, 96, this started coming into the knee replacement arena. And these are the earlier guys who did some work on it and showed pretty good results in terms of reducing the outliers in terms of the mechanical axis. And that's when interest in computer navigation started. And navigation came in with, in different way. The first type of navigation was image-based navigation, where you had CTs, you had intraoperative fluoroscopy, and that image was transferred to the computer, and the computer would then use that image. And gradually it has gone down to what is imageless navigation with morphing, with surface morphing, with kinematic registration, and to some extent surface registration. And I won't go into details of that. Most of us know what. So what is the kind of component alignment? So what does literature tell us? I mean, literature tells us, look through all these papers, and you will find that the kind of navigation we have now is excellent for frontal alignment, that is coronal plane alignment and sagittal alignment, and probably not as good all the time for rotational alignment. And if you look at a large meta-analysis by Hitemish, I think it's one of the largest series with 23 RCTs. It shows that CAS improved alignment with less outliers. So the outliers with CAS were only 12%, and the outliers with conventional surgery were nearly 30%. So significantly better in terms of achieving a neutral axis. But the debate, as I said, about rotational alignment still stands. So it was good in the sagittal plane, and it was good in the coronal plane, but not in the rotational axis. However, we do all this at the end of the day to achieve a happy patient, to achieve good function, good outcomes, which can be assessed in terms of functional scores like the WOMAC score, SF36. And if you look at data based on what did these patients who had computer navigation really feel, were they actually happy that they had surgery using a computer, and were they much better than patients who actually had conventional surgery? You get very uneven, heterogeneous results. And you get papers which show loads of better outcome with CAS, and you get another set of equally large number of good papers which show no improvement in terms of functional outcome with CAS. So these patients had very good neutral axis alignment, but they did not feel any better than what patients with conventional. And one of the important papers of that is, Harvey, who looked at it at 5 years, no difference in knee society, no difference in WOMAC scores, and no difference in patient satisfaction. A very interesting paper by Kim, who actually did bilaterals, who did a conventional on one side and a navigated on the other side, and the patient at 3 months could not differentiate between the two. The patient did not know which was navigated. So both felt equally good, so they felt there was really no significant improvement. Roberts looked at a very large series in the New Zealand registry, over 10,000 patients navigated, and they show no significant difference in terms of functional outcomes. Now, mind you, these are not outcomes in terms of how long the prosthesis is going to last, is it going to wear out faster. These are all functional outcomes that the patient felt that he was okay, he was no better than what he would have otherwise been. So the studies failed to show improved clinical outcome, improved more than what conventional would have shown. We know the cost of surgery was higher. We know there was a learning curve, so there was more trouble for the surgeon who was going to do this. And there is an absence of high-quality studies demonstrating long-term survival. Because it's a young science, you still do not have those kind of RCTs and with big numbers which are going to show you that these prostheses with neutral alignment are not going to last at 15 years or 20 years and last more than patients who have not done it, with navigation. So CAS tended to become less popular. Then, there were other studies that came out. Bone looked at 10,000 patients in the UK and Canada, which showed that 1 year patients with TK, 1 out of 5 were unhappy. So there was certainly something wrong with the way TK was done, be it conventional, be it navigated, and there was some sort of scope for improvement. We knew just giving neutral axis alignment was probably not enough. In fact, the American Academy went on to recommend against navigation on the basis of 5 follow-up study at 90 days. And they actually recommend in their guidelines that navigation is not recommended, it's not appropriate because it's not giving any improvement in functional outcome. And at about the time, an important study from Guste came out, which actually showed increased satisfaction in patients following total knee. And what is different about this study is that this individual specifically focused on using CAS not just for mechanical axis correction and alignment, but for soft tissue management. And that was the difference. And since then, if you look at a lot of studies where the surgeon has actually paid attention to gap management, that is soft tissue management, besides the fact that you have done the correct resection of the bone, got the implant in neutral axis alignment, these patients did significantly better. So it appears that the functional outcome scores are related to improvement in your soft tissue balancing. Obviously, the neutral alignment is important. We know there are studies that show that neutral alignment will lead to lesser pressure on one side, there will be lesser cantilever forces. But if you're looking at better outcomes, functional outcomes, probably that is something you need to think about too. Kalai Raja spoke about improvement in patients where minimally invasive surgery was done, and again soft tissues came into the picture. Jung spoke about much earlier rehab, again when soft tissues were dealt with appropriately using gap balancing. So gap balancing then came into the fore using your navigated techniques. So that really led to an evolution of CAS, and since then CAS has evolved into 2 directions. You have surgeons who are more bone reference. So there are surgeons who would believe that the bone cuts need to be done in a manner that they could give good alignment, and then they would remove the system. They would go ahead and do the soft tissue balancing themselves, manually feeling how the balancing is going, try to get the medial and lateral side equally well and posterior anterior. There are other surgeons who would actually do both the soft tissue and the bone cuts with CAS. Now, the first category led to development of things like the iPod navigation, the iAssist, and these are, the iAssist is basically accelerometer devices. They are like gyroscopes, and they actually pick up the acceleration. So if you put a gyroscope and an accelerometer on that and just move the limb, the system will actually pick up based on the acceleration. And based on that, it will be able to use mathematics and give you exactly the center of rotation. So they have used kinematics to use devices, accelerometer devices, to now allow you to navigate, but just the bone cuts. These devices will not allow you to do soft tissue navigation. And these devices obviously turn out to be cheaper. They are disposable devices. You do not have to have the whole assembly. And it fit the bill for surgeons who believe that the bone resection was the main issue. Then CAS evolved as regards surgeons who looked for bone and soft tissue management. And the software today is significantly developed compared to what it was. I mean, you have software now which will dynamically tell you what the balance is at all angles of flexion without even having made a cut. So if you look at the slide on the left, the image has an implant at 0 degrees. And if you look at the slide on your right, we have just turned the implant into slight flexion of about 7.5 degrees. And suddenly those two lines next to it would change and narrow down. So you have tightened the mid flexion and deep flexion gap. So you are achieving this even without making any cut. And this kind of software makes gap balancing very easy. Because the biggest problem with gap balancing as it stands today, certainly in our scenario where we see a lot of problems, where we see a lot of deformities, where patients come very late to us, is that if you made a femoral cut, posterior femoral cut based on a tibial cut, and you find that the tibia had to be resected, there was a little bit more reduction osteotomy done there, and the medial side became more loose at the end of the surgery, you could then not change the femoral angle later. You could not change the femoral rotation of the prosthesis. While here, you can just do all that even before you make the cuts. Then you have smart inserts, and this is some technology which is probably not here now, but it will probably come to us, I think, in the near future, maybe a year from now, where you have inserts, poly inserts which have sensors inside. So you simply put in your implants, your trials, you put in your sensor, and that sensor will actually sense which side is tighter, how much tighter, will actually show you how the femur rolls back, whether it rolls back too much, too less, whether the PCL is too tight, whether it's rotating too much, and all those things can simply be corrected. And you can actually see, like on these pictures, you would have, on the picture on the left, you would see the medial side is tight, so it shows 40 and there's 12 on the right. And after correction, you would have an equal curve. You could also flex and you could see if the condyles are moving in symmetry, and that would be a great software, and that's going in the same direction that CAS is now evolving to justify the correction of soft tissue problems and not just bone issues. And we know that navigation is obviously and always been useful in conditions like this, where you have retained hardware in revision surgeries to get the joint line correct, if you want to do a sliding osteotomy of the medial and lateral femoral condyle, and obviously it avoids doing intramedullary reaming. There are problems with CAS. There is a learning curve. There are malfunctions of the computer. You can sometimes get problems with passive beads if you're using the passive system. You have soft tissue issues, avulsion issues, data registration inaccuracy. But in spite of all these problems, it still continues to be a technique which offers you an enormous advantage over the conventional way of doing things. So summarizing, I think if you have to justify the use of computer navigation today, one has to look at alignment, bone alignment, and gap management. It allows you to manage difficult situations. It is an excellent tool in revision surgeries and minimally invasive surgery. But longer follow-up of good studies needs to be done, and to see whether it actually impacts long-term survival. And that is because the controversy between mechanical alignment and kinematic axis alignment still continues. Thank you very much.